Hey, so in my last video I talked about how we can get Entra ID users or Azure AD users over into Apple Business Manager to give them a managed Apple ID. And that video raised quite a few comments and questions, more questions than anything else really. So I want to just address those right now and go into a little bit deeper than we did last time. Firstly though, I have had to completely strip away all of the configuration I did to get to the stage I was at the end of that video so I can do it all again and show you a little differences when you are in a real organization perhaps. Let's jump straight in. Firstly, I need to get this sync back up and running, so we'll just do that again really quickly. I'm going to generate a new token. There it is. So I'm also going to go into Entra, and I could probably do this offline, off camera, but hey, I'm here, so we'll do it. Go into Apps and Business Manager, and what I'm doing here is getting AD Sync up and running. So I need this token and the tenant URL. So that is in provisioning. Edit provisioning because I broke it last time. Admin credentials. Going to just change that token. Tenant URL is the same. If you want to know why I did that, what this is all about, check out the other video that I've just put at the top of the video there if I remember. Okay, so provisioning is now probably fixed. That's good. Back over to Apple Business Manager. There's the token that I'm going to use. I'm going to get rid of that one. I don't need it anymore. Good. I always destroy the configurations that I do in videos because I tend to not blur out some of the configurations, so you definitely get to see everything, which means I've got to destroy the config, otherwise someone's going to steal my environment. So anyway, that's why I do that. So back to accounts, you can see I haven't got this other domain anymore, and that means that my users, I've deleted the ones that I had. I've still got Lucy Tester, but she is using worksecureonline.appleid.com, not Last Coffee. So I need to set that up again, so we'll do that nice and quickly, just to prove it wasn't a fluke last time. We'll do edit, add domain, Last Coffee.co.uk, and again, you will need to verify that it is the right domain. It's not verified right now, so I'll jump into GoDaddy. GoDaddy, there it is. And sign in. I'm already signed in. Look at that. Perfect. I'm going to grab the information from verify, copy that text record over into Last Coffee. There's a DNS button here somewhere, I'm sure of it. There it is. Grab that. So I'll add that new text record, which is txt with that. Okay, give that a little while to verify. All done. Okay, next is to federate it, so I'll choose federate. Now the thing I need to explain is different this time than it was last time, and the comments have helped me understand that. The video I showed you was a perfect example of how it should work in a clean, evergreen environment where no one's ever done anything before, and there's very few of those around. So we need to see how it works in real life. And in real life, people might have already registered their Apple ID, such as this lady here. So Jenny Tester at Last Coffee has, why can't I see any of her information? Jenny at lastcoffee.co.uk has set up an Apple ID in her name. So when she goes to appleid.apple.com or signs into any Apple service, she can sign in with Jenny at lastcoffee.co.uk. Now, she either did that because she thought that was a brilliant idea, or she did that because she was told to by the IT people who were rolling out Apple Business Manager at the time. I'm just going to sign in. So, nope, that's the number that texts you. That's not the code. Okay, just going to sign in with MFA there. Good. So now we can see that Jenny has an Apple ID already. And the question from a lot of people in the YouTube comments and on LinkedIn was, what happens if someone has already registered an Apple ID? And the answer is that it handles it somehow, and we should look at how it handles it so you're aware of that in your organization. Now, be aware I've only got one person who has registered an Apple ID in this organization, Jenny, because I don't have time to do more than one, and it's a demo organization, so I'm not going to go that far. So we have one conflict, potentially. So over to Apple Business Manager then. We've verified ownership, so Apple knows I own lastcoffee.co.uk. I haven't tried to create any users yet, so I'm going to choose Federate. I need to sign in with my account, which I'll do now. This is Microsoft authentication for my lastcoffee.co.uk domain. I'll sign in. And now it says we're verifying that no existing Apple IDs are using this domain. It can take up to an hour. So it didn't take an hour because we already see that there's one username conflict. So it says verified ownership, but it's gone amber because we have one username conflict. And it says one Apple ID is already using at lastcoffee.co.uk. I knew that because I created it a few hours ago. So in order to reclaim this username, Apple can ask the user to choose a new email address for their personal Apple ID. Now, the word reclaim is a worrying word, so we need to take that email address, not the Apple ID, not the whole Apple account, just the email address, because we need it for our purposes, right? It's our email address for our company. We can't have the user taking that with them to anywhere they go after this. So we need to reclaim that email address, not the account, just the email address. So we need to do that, and it doesn't tell us who it is. We happen to know it's Jenny, but this doesn't tell us who it is, this screen here. So it says we can either continue or cancel, and presumably it's going to do something if we continue and not do something if we click cancel. I'll choose continue, and it says on your behalf, each user will be asked to choose a new email address for their personal Apple ID, and that's where it'll say on their phone, which sounds good, and they'll have 60 days, and after that, regardless of what they do, they'll be released to my organization because I've proven that I own that email address. So we'll choose send notifications. It says one account will be notified. It can't be undone because it's going to send an email and you can't undo an email, really. So we'll choose OK. And it's sending a notification. And I can't choose Federate. It says Federation not enabled. It's sending that notification. So I guess we need to go over and see Jenny's email. Jenny just got an email. Jenny's email says, update Apple ID. Work Secure's claimed lastcoffee.co.uk starting on March 26th, which is in 60 days. You'll no longer be able to use Jenny at lastcoffee.co.uk as the email address for your Apple ID. It's really important you understand the distinction, your users understand the distinction between the email address used for the Apple ID and the Apple ID. So I'm not going to claim ownership of that Apple ID. The purchases, the content, the iCloud, all that kind of stuff is staying with that account. You're losing access to that email address because it's not theirs. So it says, please choose a different email address. Your data and purchases will not be affected by this change. Update at appleid.apple.com or on any of your macOS or iOS devices. So if she had a macOS or iOS device, presumably she would. I don't, for her. So it would have popped up on there as well in some way. So now we're waiting for Jenny to do something because my portal here still says sending notification. If I refresh that and go into there a bit more, it says one username conflict, 60 days left. So now, can I choose Federation not enabled? What happens there? Enabling Federation and Azure AD Sync. So Federation is now enabled and it's resolving one username conflict. the state we're in right now is that I'm federating my domain, so all of the other users in my last coffee domain are being synchronized to Apple Business Manager, but they can't do Jenny because that's already been used by Jenny elsewhere, and we need Jenny to do some work. So I'm going to play the role of Jenny not doing anything when she receives that email. I'm going to ignore that and see what Apple Business Manager does within the 60-day period. So let's jump in. We'll go to users, and you can see it's synchronized Jenny. So this was the other Jenny. I've got two Jennys. I've got Jenny Tester, Jenny T, and Jenny. I need to add the other Jenny. That's my bad. Problem is when you got two users with the same name, right? It probably shouldn't happen in a test organization, but there you go. That has happened. 3 users. Right, so we have Jenny here, and she needs to be added to a group, which is the Apple group. Just talk amongst yourselves while you're waiting for me. Okay, so I've added them there, and that's the group that gets synchronized by this skim process. Okay, so over in Apple Business Manager, you can see I have these users here, waiting for that second Jenny just to arrive in here, and I have a feeling that the second Jenny won't arrive in here because of the issue we've got with the sync. So if I go to Activity, we've got this Microsoft Sync here. I'm going to open that up in CSV, and what you see here is that we've done some synchronization. We've done Timmy T and Jenny T are the 2 users. So if I just minimize that and have a look at the other things that we found. So conflict found. One Apple ID is using the domain last coffee. We know that. So I'll just download that and see what information we get from that particular log. Domain collision scan, collision success. Okay, that's not giving us too much information. Account federated. Jump into that one and see what information we get there, because these logs give more information than the actual interface within that. So that's Lucy being federated as well. So just heading back to the Apple Business Manager Enterprise app in Azure AD or Entra and going to provisioning logs is showing nothing because it's something happened. That was a while ago. Not interesting. In audit logs, you'll see that actually we have just a few minutes ago Jenny at last coffee. So that's the one we want with the conflict, has been provisioned successfully into Apple Business Manager. So there you go. Display names ABM. Okay, so I've waited about 10 minutes now for this to show me the conflicted usernames. I've definitely seen it in the past. Tell me which users are causing the conflict so you can directly contact them yourself. Right now, from the interface, it definitely doesn't tell you which users are causing the conflict. It just says there are some conflicts in the environment, and it has reached out to them directly. I mean, you could theoretically use Exchange to figure out who's been sent the information, or you can definitely get it from the activity logs within Apple Business Manager. Can't show you right now because it's just not there yet in this environment, and I really need to get this video out before I have my weekend. So I'm gonna get this all sealed up for you now. That's essentially what we do. When the user does eventually change their Apple ID, that conflict will be resolved. So if we go back into Apple Business Manager, accounts, edit, this username conflict will disappear, and you're able to have them federated as normal and created in Apple Business Manager automatically. I think that was the stuff I was missing from the last video, so hopefully that's helped you catch up to where everyone else is at when they're trying to create this process within an existing organization that has some users already. Hopefully that's helped. See you next time.